Hello everyone, this is Camille with Mimi Journals, and today I am going to show you my 2022 planner lineup. It's a mix of planning, journaling, faith, all that stuff. So I got a big fat stack here to show you today, and we are just going to go through the basics of what's in here and what purpose they serve, and then I will make further videos elaborating on the ones that I'm willing to share. Like a more in-depth thing on. So you guys have already seen this one. This is my everyday carry, my main daily planner. And the first video on my channel is of this one. So I do not need to go over that. And I'll just scoot these off screen and then start showing you what I got. So we've gone through this one. So next I have a Hobonichi Weeks, just this standard size, not the mega. This is my health planner, so I definitely do not show any of that information, but I can just show you an empty page, and then I can kind of break down how I use this thing. So I have my usual copper tabs because I love those. They're very pretty. I usually cut this side to like 2/3 on one side and 1/3 on the other side, and then I break it down in on the smaller of the squares. I put all of my eating, like just anything like that, so food, snacks, water intake, you know, all that on this side. And then here I write down my sleep and any physical symptoms, because I'm somebody who lives with chronic illness. It's just something that I need to keep track of and be very aware of. And then over here I currently use it as a summary of my mental health that day. That is something that I feel like is appropriate for where I'm at in life right now, but it's not something that I feel like I'm necessarily going to need to do long term. It's just that right now I have a lot of stuff going on in life, and so I want to make sure that I'm kind of making note of things like anxiety, stress, just kind of different mental health things, so that I can have insight on how all of this stuff is impacting me and then what I need to do to take care of myself. So that's kind of how this breaks down. Physical health on this side, mental health on this side, and that is that. And I just go on. And then here in the back, as all Hobonichi Weeks are set up, there is plain grid paper. So on this paper, I do a couple of things. One of the things I do is I make a graph of things that I want to track. So I write the times of my sleep in the pages up here, but then I like to have a visual representation of my sleep back here, because sleep is just something that I kind of struggle with. I don't, when you have health stuff going on, sleep can be a problem. So I like to have a visual representation, and so I do just what a standard, chart would look like. So I have dates going down on this side, and then I have the things I want to track going across, and those things are sleep and then any symptoms that I feel like are impeding my quality of life, which, is going to be different for everybody. But that way I can track how often they happen in the month and to what severity depending on the symptom. And so that can give me really insight on things I need to change and so on and so forth. Okay, so next up, this is definitely one that I will love to elaborate on, share with you guys, continue to grow in. This is one that I am the most excited about. This is, as far as the book itself, it is a standard Hobonichi Weeks Mega in the sunshine color or the yellow. I don't really remember the terminology that they use. And then this clear cover is a standard Hobonichi Weeks Mega cover from the Hobonichi brand, and I just liked the design, the lines. It kind of looks like rope. I don't know. I liked it, so I put it on there. This is my gratitude journal, where I literally write the things I am thankful for every day. I didn't get it the very first day of the year, so there are some that I still need to go backfill, but I had started the process of backfilling. But I just try to write down everything that I can think of that I was grateful for that day. And so I will have weeks where that stuff spills over and it doesn't just fit in the standard weeks section. So if it spills over, it goes on this side, and I want to continue to be more and more creative with what this looks like, because it is just such a treasured possession, and I want it to be as enjoyable as possible, because it's basically a book of joy is essentially what it comes down to. But I think I will do a separate video on this. I will also do probably like a plan with me kind of thing, and I would also love to hear any input you guys have, any ideas, and I will in that video talk further about why I have a whole book dedicated to gratitude and kind of what that means to me and just the different stuff, right? So more to come. Next, I have a whole batch of these. So some of these are dailies, right? So like my health planner is a daily, my gratitude planner is a daily. I try to keep up with them daily. That's not always what happens, but even if I don't, I go and backfill. My, standard carry around planner is a daily, right? Not all of these are dailies. This one is one that I originally, and I still use it this way, but it's kind of morphed, evolved, however you want to say that. This is my nightly journal, and basically what that means is I just wanted a safe space that was separate from everything else, that just existed by my bedside, where I could dump any and every little stupid thought in my head. So whether it was mundane, whether it was repetitive, whether it was dumb, whether it was super vulnerable and personal, whether it was super mushy and girly and like, why did I even think that? Like, it just doesn't matter. If it's bouncing around in my head before bed and I want to just let it out so that I can let it go, it goes in here. So originally I thought this would be something like, listening to that description, it's probably pretty obvious that the stuff written in here is not stuff that I really want to share. But originally I didn't realize that it would become so vulnerable, to be honest with you. I also thought that because it's a nightly journal, that I would leave space for dreams, because I used to be extremely good at remembering my dreams. Now I am not. It's like a stress thing for me. I used to because I love dreaming. I think it's fascinating, and I enjoy tracking it and learning from it, and I just have this whole thing about dreams. But lately my life and my health has been so stressful that I don't retain it. And so this was something that was going to motivate me to try to take that time to myself and get back into enjoying my dreams and learning from them and stuff. So this is a Hobonichi Weeks Techo, the standard size, which I think is, I want to say A5, or is it A6? I always confuse those, and I completely apologize, but it's the little one. As you can see, it's smaller than my hand. So whichever of those two is the little one, that's the one. It has the double pen loops, so you stick the pen in and it keeps it closed, which I thought I wouldn't enjoy that, and I actually do quite a lot. So that was a nice surprise. I have the standard vinyl cover-on-cover protector, which I just think makes it look slick and pretty, though this one has a little bit of schmutz on it. And then it actually comes with a little pocket, which I literally did not realize until I was messing with it on camera. But I just very much enjoy this setup. I think it's beautiful, and it's like an emotional comfort thing to have this around. So kind of how I set it up, like I said, you're not going to be seeing the entries because they're surprisingly personal. Didn't really see that coming, but it is the situation. Is I have like just thoughts, brain dumps in this section, and then I turn it sideways, and if I do remember anything about my dreams, I fill it in like this. Or if like the next morning other things come to me that are related to this, I fill it in here. So that's kind of the setup that I do. And then these, for those who don't know, Hobonichi Weeks Techos are set up to have monthly views, daily views, and I think so there's a yearly view here. Nothing for me to keep off camera. There is monthly view here, which I don't really have any use for yet, but I can continue to brainstorm, and maybe I will make use of those eventually. For this tiny, it bled onto the other side. Oh well. For this tiny, year at a view glance, I started to track what days I've made entries, because like I said, it's not a daily thing for me. So I started to keep track of what days I make entries. And then the daily view just looks like this. Date up at the top. I'm sure something very interesting in Japanese here at the bottom, but I do not know Japanese. And it's just a whole year's worth of dailies. So these entries are extremely sloppy, messy. They're not pretty in any way, shape, or form. But this is just such a awesome thing for me, and I enjoy it very much. So that is that one. Next, I have this, which is a diary. So this is my carry around, go everywhere with me diary, and this is my heart is a big mushy mess diary. And so probably some of the most vulnerable thoughts I've ever had exist in here. And some of the most interesting insights on how I feel about things exist in here. This cover is very roughly made by me, but I am still extremely proud because even though I am by no stretch of the imagination a leather craftsman, I have never done this before until like a couple of weeks ago, and just every time I look at this, I am proud of myself because, one, I'm being honest about my feelings in my diary, and that is a very vulnerable thing to do. And so that alone, just the process of that is very rewarding because it's showing me, you know, just different things about myself. And then also I made this cover. So, you know, like I said, nothing fancy, nothing fantastic, but I just love it to death. I absolutely love it. And I mostly write about just how I feel about things in here. So I just enjoy that. One of my all-time favorite leathers, this mavaric leather, is what is protecting such precious thoughts, because I really feel like this is a process that creates such tremendous growth. And so I like the symbolism of having this leather cover that has so much character and has so much richness to it, being what protects those thoughts and processes. So that's a lot of it for me. And, you know, like I said, I've never done this before, so I don't know. I've watched tutorials on how to treat the edges, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. So like the edges are super rough and stuff like that. But yeah, I adore this thing so much, and it serves such a wonderful purpose in my life. I noticed for me, because I actually have more than one diary, which people are probably like, why do you write in so many different spots? And my answer is that's just how my brain works. This I write mostly about, honestly, like social life is really what it comes down to. I write way less about myself and way more about how I feel about people and relationships and how those relationships are going and how they're impacting my life and just stuff like that. That's really what this one is. And then I have one that's really all about like me, like just me, what, you know, career, you know, just different, like very me focused, whereas this is very like community, relationship, like my, like, you know, just the people I love focused. So it's just different. As far as what is inside here, obviously you'll not be seeing any entries, but it is a Stylogy. I really need to know the difference between the two sizes. I want to say it's a Stylogy A5, cut down to be the same size as a Hobonichi Weeks. So I literally just measured my Hobonichi, and then I took it to a Office Max, and I had them cut it down. So it's actually more like the size of a Hobonichi with a cover on it than just the Hobonichi like bare, but that totally doesn't matter to me. So I had them cut it on the bottom, and I had them cut it on the side, and yeah. And then I also designed this cover so that the leather sticks out across the edges the whole time that I'm writing, because I love leather so much that I want to be interacting with it as I am writing. So obviously just flip to a blank page. So for those who no Stylogy. This is probably no surprise, but for those who don't, I will flip to the page that has the little thing in it just so that it sits more flat. Stalogies are set up with this gorgeous, super smooth, super buttery thin paper. I am in love with this type of paper because it reminds me of like Pride and Prejudice and just different like old vintage stuff. I'm just obsessed with it. I'm also just obsessed with like Japanese stationery because it's freaking bomb. And they have the really soft grid, and then up at the top they have dates that you can circle. So in very tiny letters they have every month, they have every weekday, and then they have the numbers, and so you can use that to track what day you're writing if you choose to. I honestly ignore that. I think it looks cute, but that is by no means the way that I track my days. And yeah, and I just gush my heart out in this thing, and then I close it and I keep on keeping on. So that's how this one goes. Let's see. The next one that I will talk about is my journal that is about me, and about just how I feel about myself, about my health, about my mental health, about, it's very, very personal and very, very tailored towards myself, unlike the other one, which is very different. So I have never really done the pocket size notebook thing before. And so that there's two more that are that size, and that's a very new size for me. And so I was kind of nervous about it, just because, as you can tell by this massive stack, I am a writer. Writing is how I process life. Writing is how I make sense of the world. And I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a very good writer, but I am one who it's just a fundamental part of who I am. I write the same way I talk, and I'm very long-winded. So like it's not that I talk all the time, but when I do talk, I'm very rambly. And so my writing is very similar to that. So I'm sure people who are like grammar Nazis and stuff like that would find my writing really obnoxious because it just is kind of like an endless train of thought. And so punctuation and grammar are probably not things that I would call my strengths. But this, I was really surprised. I actually enjoy it quite a lot. I like the size. I like the feel of it. I like that it's low commitment because, to be quite honest with you, I am very terrible at being honest about what's going on with me as an individual. I am very community focused. I'm very people focused. I mean, it makes sense. I'm a mental health counselor, for Pete's sake, so it's probably not a surprise that I'm really good at focusing on other people and not, but I'm not the best at focusing on myself. And that is a very common trait among mental health professionals, is we are very, we're attracted to that profession for a reason. It suits us most of the time. So yeah. So this is kind of my personal journey in being more reflective and more honest about me to myself, if that makes sense. As far as where I got this specific pocket journal, I actually have a whole stack of pocket journals, literally just directly off camera that direction, that I will be using. So when I fill it up, just move on to the next one. I got this one at Barnes & Noble and in a pack of 3. And as much as I really love vintage themed stuff, I can be kind of picky about it. And so the stuff that I do like, I absolutely adore. And I just like, it just makes my heart sing. But then there's other stuff where I'm like, that looks old and cringy. So I can be kind of like, just very particular about vintage things that I like. And this has a very vintage vibe to it. But I enjoy it. So this came in a pack of 3. The other 2 are right here. So this is the second one, which I just loved this so much. And then this is what the third one looks like. And Barnes & Noble, and I think the pack was like, I don't know, like $12 or something like that. Maybe $50. No, I doubt it. I think it was like $12. It wasn't a lot. And then they have different papers in them. So this one has blank, and this one has graph. And so it'll be kind of fun. I actually love graph paper for some reason, even though all I'm doing is writing my thoughts. It's not like I'm doing any like math or anything. For some reason, I'm very attracted to graph paper. But anyways, that's that. So I'm currently in this one. I'll be moving on to these ones. I also have other ones waiting in the wings for when I'm done with this set. Okay. This video is quite long. I knew it would be, but I'm going to stop breaking down everything because most of the ones that I have coming are stuff that I will flip through with you guys anyways. So actually, I'm not going to do this one yet. I'm going to do another one because it's the last one that I will not be flipping through. So all the ones I showed you just now, with the exception of the gratitude journal, are ones that I'm not going to be showing you the inside of. That includes this one. So this is my bullet journal for all things projects and creativity. So I am somebody who has 1,000,001 hobbies, and it is really hard for me to just stick to one hobby. It's just something that is not in my personality to be good at focusing on one thing. And so I am into sticker making, I'm into leather working, I'm into photography, both digital and film, and I am into obviously all things journaling. I feel like I'm missing something. And just writing in general is kind of in there, but kind of different. Yeah. So that's the heavy hitters. Oh, and drawing, but I haven't drawn in a long time. Just because I don't have time for it because I've been focusing on all my other hobbies. So I do drawing and watercoloring and digital drawing, just like all things like illustration. But it's been a hot minute since I've done that stuff, a couple months. So for me, because I have so many hobbies, they rotate in and out of my life, and which ones I'm like really heavy gung-ho doing a ton of stuff on. I'll have like a set of them that I have capacity for, and then a set that just sit on the back burner, and then it just like rotisserie style like rotates, and just like what I focus on will just like and it will come back around again. That's just how that works for me. And so my poor friends have to listen to me get like so gung-ho and passionate and just so worked up about this stuff and just be like so in it, and then like a couple months later I'm like doing something else and they're like, Camila, weren't you doing that? And I'm like, yeah, I was, but no, I'm not. And yeah, it's just how my brain works. So this embodies all of that stuff. It keeps track of finances, it keeps track of just like how much money I've spent, it keeps track of all my ideas, it keeps track of the different things that I'm willing to do, the notes I've taken about those things, because obviously I have to learn how to do different stuff. Just all of it is all dumped in here in a bullet journal. Very useful, but not something that you guys need to be seeing. And that's it for the ones that I will not be doing further videos on. So I just keep changing my mind which one I'm going to show you. This is my Commonplace journal. Once again, this is a leather cover that I made myself. Another traveler's notebook. Once again, it is very rough, but I love it to death, and I think it's adorable. I love the warm tone. I love the pull-up of the leather, how it does that. Like, look at that. So pretty. I love the beat-up way, how it just, like, absorbs all the scuffs. Amazing. And the softness of the inside, I could pet that all freaking day. So I have one of the Traveler's Notebooks cloth pocket inserts tucked around it, which I wasn't sure if I would like. I thought it was a cute idea, but I wasn't confident that it was gonna be something that I enjoyed, and I enjoy it quite a bit. And then I have in here my Uniball Vision Elite, and I literally just attach it to the pocket like this and just shove it together and wrap it and call it a day. So far there is nothing inside these pockets, or I would show you. This is my Commonplace journal, where I just write down any quotes, any notes, anything that is meaningful to me, that stood out to me, that spoke to me. You name it, it gets put in here. All quotes from all sorts of things, from scripture, from conversations, from YouTube videos, from sometimes just from like thoughts in my mind that I'm like, well, that for some reason I really want to remember, so I jot it down in here. I am not a fan of these lines by any stretch, but I just ignore them and it seems to be working just fine. And this is a Zequenz 360 journal. I love the feel of their covers. It has this like pleather, soft, I don't know how you describe that, but I enjoy it. I do enjoy the feel of their paper. I wouldn't say it's as fancy as what I'm used to, but I am very spoiled with my Japanese stationery. And it's very floppy, and it can just really take a beating, and it's supposed to be able to 360, hence the name. So it's, you know, you can press it pretty far and it just takes it, and that is nice. I like that. I like how fat it is. I like the dimensions. It definitely does the job. Next time I want either grid, which shouldn't be a surprise, or I want blank. I actually ordered a blank one and they sent me the wrong one, but that was Amazon. That wasn't like straight from Zequenz, the company. So that, you know, mix-ups happen. And it's okay. It's a very inexpensive journal, so I didn't stress it. So that is my Commonplace journal. You'll be seeing further videos on that later. I have next, this is my daily devotional journal. It is a Hobonichi Techo, standard Hobonichi Techo. I will be doing a further video on this. So I'm trying to wrap this video up, so I'll just keep on chugging along. I also have a 5-year Hobonichi Techo, which is where you do 5 years worth of daily stuff in. I will make a further video about that. This is my memory planner. That is a Take a Note, which is a Taiwanese company. And again, this video is way too long, so I will do a further video about this. But this is my memory scrapbook planner, where it just stores all the pictures and all of the summaries of my life. And then the newest addition to the family, which I have yet to start. This is a brand that I really like, TRU RED. It's a brand that you can find at like Office Max. I got the grid paper, surprise, surprise. Have not, besides breaking the spine and working the pages so that it sits the way I want, I have not started it yet. I got this because, one, I am really loving the pocket size, a surprising amount. Two, I carry around too much stuff anyways, so I didn't want to bulk up my everyday carry any more than I need to. But I just decided that because of how chaotic life is, and because of how much I care about continuing to grow in my faith and continuing to have a very intimate relationship with the Lord, I wanted something dedicated to expecting His voice and expecting hearing His voice, and then keeping notes about what it is that we talk about and what it is that He tells me. And mostly, the idea is, mostly this will be about what I hear from Him versus what I say to Him. Or, you know, granted, I'm sure there will be acknowledgments of things that I say to Him, simply because, you know, I'm sure plenty of the things that I hear from Him are going to be responses. But I also just want to expect His voice. Like, whether or not I have questions, whether or not I have prayers, whether or not, whatever, like, no matter what's going on with me, I want to live in expectation of His voice. And then be sensitive to that. Be like, have my ear to the floor, you know, or whatever, ear to the door. I don't know how that phrase goes. And just like have that mindset of, my Lord talks to me because He cares for me. And His words give life. His words are life-bringing. And so I need to treat them with respect and honor and reverence and care. And one of the best ways to do that for me personally is to write them down. So that's kind of a lot to put on a little black book, but you catch my meaning. So that's what this is for. I am excited to start this. I will most likely be making a leather cover for it. Granted, the cover on it is already leather, but I like having the Traveler's Notebooks covers all my stuff, and I like the additional level of protection around them. Plus, I am debating whether or not I want to keep this cover as is on the inside, or if I want to do some kind of like collage or vinyl sticker or just whatever. I'm considering making modifications. That's the word I was looking for, to this. So this one is, he's brand new. I bought him yesterday, and he will be my little faith companion. All right, so that is all. That is the lineup. That is all. I say that like it's not like a lot, but look at it. It barely fits on the camera. It is so much. But in my defense, most of it is not daily. Maybe half of it is daily. The other half is just as needed or when desired. And plenty of it is stuff that I like backdate. Like I don't do it daily and then I sit down once a week or twice a week and I fill in what happened. But yeah, I know it's a lot, but it is such a joy and it's such a treasure and it's such a fundamental part of who I am that even though this would probably drive other people crazy, it makes me very happy and frankly, it makes me feel sane. So you can tell how scatterbrained of a person I am if having this much material to write in is what makes me feel like my brain makes sense. But this is the truth. So thank you so much for watching. That video was very chatty, but I loved every second of it. I hope you did too. I hope you find it inspiring. And if you have any questions, I will do my best to answer them. But thank you so much for watching and you will hear from me soon. All right. Bye.